Last giveaway of the day. Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. It's a book. I know I talk about this book a lot and I always compare it with this one. I always do. And I always say that for me, Stephen King's voice is more my voice, more direct, more straightforward. And even though I love Elizabeth Gilbert, like I'm not one of the haters on Eat, Pray, Love. Like I not necessarily the film as much, but the book. I thought the book was profound. It's really good. So I do love her. Like I follow her on Instagram, and I love her interventions. So I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm absolutely adore what she does. Like I love watching her interviews. Like she's so concise, coherent, and so inspiring. Like the TED talks and everything. But there's just something about her voice in this book that I've talked about before, and it's a little bit as if she's treating like creative people, artists with gloves on. And I know that for some of you, that will work really well. For me, like I said, like I like the Stephen King approach, like what he does. Like if you're not getting serious about this, you go away. Like shut the book, go wash your car, like whatever. Just don't bother. She's different. That said, this book, Big Magic, was an absolute game changer for me. And not just a book, like she also has a podcast, Magic Lessons. I was like, what was the name again? Magic Lessons. She has a podcast that she actually started after this book. It's really good. It's like she talks with different creatives, so not just writers, with different creatives and their struggles. And then she like rings up her friends, like people that she knows, people in her network, and she talks to them about the particular issue that the person that she just interviewed is talking about. And then she gets back to the person, so it's really good. Like I love the Magic Lessons. Really, and I didn't know about that because I read this book, but one of my friends, Paulina, who also read the book, she told me to see the Magic Lessons, and it's really good. So I should put a link. I should put a link in there as well, because it's actually those Magic Lessons. No, it's not the thing I most recommend to my clients, but definitely I do have some clients that I'm like, this is exactly what Liz Gilbert talks about in that particular episode. So go have a look, go have a listen, and see whether it resonates with you, what these people are going through. So I'd really recommend not just the book, but also the podcast. So why is it such? Why was it such a game changer for me? Because there's so many gems in this one. Like she talks about, she has a really interesting way of talking about fear, and that just stayed with me. Like she's like, fear. She's for me one of the first people to tell me that fear is okay. Fear is not necessarily a bad thing, but we need to acknowledge that fear and not let it take control over the wheel. So we need to put the fear either in like maybe the back seat. You can look at it in the mirror, like it's there. Fear has a purpose, like to keep you sharp, to make sure you're doing the right thing, but shouldn't take over your life. So that's something she talks about in this book. There's also she also like she sort of how do you say that? She busts the myth that you will get rewarded if you take the leap. So if you like quit your job, jump off that cliff, there will be a net catching you. She's like, no, it's not going to happen. So of course you need to take risks, but make sure that these are risks that are reasonable. Don't don't risk it all. Like don't risk your mortgage or your relationship or what have you, depending of course on the status of the relationship. But she's very much like, you need to take risks. Like if you don't take risks, you're not gonna have like the big magic life. but be smart about it. Like, don't go like, because there is this story. Like, it's been, I think it's lessening now, but it was quite a common story for a long time. Is that if you know what you want, the only way you can get it is by like burning all your bridges, dive off that cliff, and just go for it. She's saying no. Because what will happen is you'll be crushed, like you'll be down, like you'll be at the bottom somewhere in the valley, with all your bones crushed, and your adrenaline will go like. She goes to the muse, like, can we do this again? Can we do this again? This was fun, and you're just like trying to sort of like get yourself together because you broke every single bone in your body. So she's like, don't do that. Don't. You can take a risk. But don't risk it all. And that was also for me like just such a switch in my mindset, because that is a story that we've often believed, is that we believe that we get rewarded by taking the big leap. And she's saying no. You have to take risks, but don't go crazy like that. Like, don't, like, be reasonable. Like, think about it. Don't risk your livelihood. Don't do it. Like, don't quit your day job if it's not time to quit your day job. Quit it when it's time, when it's safe enough. Not when it's safe, because that will keep you stuck in something you shouldn't be, like in a situation you shouldn't be in. But find the balance there. Find the balance between when is it time for me to quit this, and am I still in this because I want to play it too safe? So she's all about the balance there. So I really love that. That was a huge mindset change for me, because I was also thinking, like, they say that if you do it, like if you take the risk, you will be rewarded. And she said, you can be, but it's not a guarantee. So if you end up at the bottom of that cliff with all your bones broken, who are you gonna, like, who are you gonna, like, you're the one responsible for that. Like, you cannot stand up and go like, who am I gonna blame for this? No, you did this to yourself. So be smart about it. Another thing she does in this book, and she also, there's a great interview she does. I can't remember her name. I can't remember her name, but I just don't know how to pronounce it. So I'll put a link up in the comments. She does an interview and she talks about the shit sandwich. And that's something that she talks about in this book. And it's about the shit sandwich is, how much can you take? How much shit can you take before you have to quit something? And she gives the example of an author friend, like also someone who wanted to be an author. And they were fed up way before she was. So they gave up. Like, they felt like they were eating that shit sandwich, and they were like, it's time. Like, I should really, like, I cannot do it anymore. Like, I'm done. I need to do something else. So they quit their writing career. And she said, for her at that moment, she was like, Can I get the rest of that? Can I eat the rest of your shit sandwich? Because I'm not even there yet. Like, I can take so much more crap before I actually give up. So that was another interesting thing, is that for every individual, and that's one of my points, and I've been talking about that with a lot of people today. A lot of the people who came on today, that there is so much noise, and there is so much, like, what other people are telling you, this is what it should be like, as if there is some kind of universal experience around writing or publishing or becoming a published author. It's not. And that's actually what the shit sandwich for me is also about. So that for every person, it's different. Like, what can you take? Like, what are you ready to sacrifice? Where do you draw the line? And she, like, the way she talks about that's just sort of like, she makes my mindset about creative living, about writing, changed so much because of this book, because this resonated with me so much. She basically said, like, all the things I was struggling with, she just sort of, like, she gave me a way out. Like, she told me, you don't have to do it like this. Like, I think this is actually much smarter, much more reasonable. So it's a very reasonable book, actually, which I really appreciate. So yeah, before we go on for too long, like I said, like I tend to, when I talk about this book, I always say like I recommend it, but I don't like the tone. That is true. Like I don't, it's because it's not my tone. Like I don't need people to talk to me like that. Um, it could also be because the tone is similar to the tone I use when I'm coaching. Like it's similar to my tone. So it could also just be that recognition, and recognition can be a good thing, but it can also sort of like bring up some resistance. So that could be it as well. But it's such, it's so honest. It's so honest. Yeah, it did me like this. Like I said, like this was a game changer for me. In terms of how I think about creative living, about creation, about being an author. So I absolutely recommend this one. So if you want a copy of this, and actually this is one of the books. I cannot remember how many friends I gave this book to, but a lot. Like the year this came out, this was like my standard birthday present to my friends. Whether they were writers or were doing anything that resembled a creative living, I was like, hey, here you go, copy of Big Magic. So yeah, I bought a lot of these, like the year it came out. So if you want a copy of this book, go to the link in the description, enter the giveaway, tick this particular box, and of course all the other boxes you want to tick, because you can enter as many of the giveaways as you want. And maybe I will get you a copy of this one. If you don't win, look it up anyway, because it's like I said, it's really it just changed my mind. No, it didn't change my mind, but it gave me the feeling that the reason I wasn't sure about what other people were saying, she gave me like a reference. Like she gave me like a framework of reference. Like, see, I'm not crazy that I think differently about how this whole process works. No, this was validation. Like Stephen King's book was validation for me as a writer. This book gave me validation on how I think about the writing process and how I coach people about the writing process. That's what this book did to me. So if you want the copy, go check out the giveaway, and also check out all the other stuff that I'm giving away today. You can enter until up until the 24th of March. I'll draw winners on the 25th of March, so I'll let you know if you got this copy by then. What's left is it's 11:15 p.m. I've been doing this for 13 hours straight. As you can see, I'm really tired. I'm going to bed now. But this was lovely. I had so much fun today, and I want to thank everyone who participated. So all the people that came along. So Kate, let me see if I can do it in the right order. Everything at this point is starting to blur into one for me. So it's Kate, Sheena Mary. See, there we go. Sherry, I think. There was Ashley, my brilliant VA, and like really look her up. She's amazing. Amy came along to talk about, like, to explain to you all like why she hired me as a coach. I've had Greg on. I had John on. I'm sure I'm missing someone. Sherry. Did I mention Sherry? Like I said, everything's bleeding into one at this point. I'm really, really, really tired. I'm so glad. I'm really glad this is done, but I'm also so glad that I got to celebrate this with you. And I've looked at your emails and your messages and your support, and it's been such a great day. Like, I'm so glad that I did this. It's been really rewarding just being in this space with you and getting all this positive feedback. John, I miss John, of course. Just talked to John an hour ago. It's been such a rewarding exercise to do this with you. So I thank you all. I started the day with gratitude. I'm ending the day with gratitude. And now I'm just really grateful that I get to go to bed. So, like my VA actually already said, you're not going to put the video on YouTube. I'm going to do it. You're just going to like click finish and you just go straight to bed. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So thank you all. If you have any questions about any of the giveaways, don't hesitate to contact me. If you have any questions about the discounts, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm here for you. Everything is valid until the end of next week, so until the 24th of March. You can enter the giveaway until then. You can use the discounts and then. It's gonna be like I won't be online. It's just for today, but everything is for the entire week. Okay. Thanks again for joining me. I'm signing off now. And I'll see some of you tomorrow for my regular life. I'll still do that. For the rest of the week, kind of take it slow, I think. Okay. Thanks again for doing this with me. I had such a blast, and I hope you did too. Okay. Bye bye.